Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Katie and today we are going to be creating a card using the Spooky Gnome stamp and thin cut from Close to My Heart. So here is just a close-up of the card that we will be creating today. I am using the last little gnome that came in that stamp and thin cut set. So here is just a close-up of what that stamp and thin cut set looks like. In my prior two cards, I used this gnome and this guy right here, and I'm getting around to using this little guy right now. So I decided to go ahead and use that gnome and then this little bat as well. I just cut that out of glitter paper, and then the broom right down here. And I did all the coloring for the gnome and the broom off camera. I did that already, but I'm just going to kind of show you a little close-up. I used the tri-blend markers. And on the broom, I tried to make kind of a shadowy effect on the broom, but otherwise I just used one shade of green and then some gray for his beard and then some peach kind of skin tone color for his little nose and hands. So I'll just put that over to the side. Again, here are the bats. Here is just a close up. This is actually the thin cut that comes with the thin cut and stamp set with the Spooky Gnomes. So I just cut them right out of glitter paper. And then right here, this piece is actually just a piece that I cut out using the art booking Cricut collection from Close to My Heart, and I sized it down to fit the card front. So right here you can see that I just left a 1/4 of an inch border, and I believe that this had two different ends on it. This was originally for a scrapbook page, so I just kind of used the slice tool and then cropped it down to fit a regular A2 card size. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the original out of the way. And then again, I'm going to be using some distressed oxide inks. I will be using some spiced marmalade and then mustard seed. So I wanted to get a background that kind of looked like a moon. So I decided just to use these two colors. And I'm just using it on a piece of Teflon just so I don't mess up my background on my desk. But again, as always, just kind of dipping into the Distress Oxide inks, but then going off the paper and then in a circular motion, just kind of moving it around. And I am using the smooth side of the paper as well. This Distressed Oxide paper comes a smooth side or a textured side, and I just wanted to go ahead and use the smooth side. So again, just taking this color, dipping it in a bit, starting off the page, moving over to the paper, and just constantly moving it around in a circular motion. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink up, let's see here, this one again is called the mustard seed, so this is more of the yellow, and again going off and then just kind of moving over. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want a big circle dot in the middle of the paper. So I'm kind of starting off and then moving up towards the center. So I'm just going kind of around in a circle, making sure I get the edges of that orange. Now that I got the orange and the yellow on, I can go ahead and put the little dauber directly to the paper because it won't make that circle because I already have ink right on the paper. When it is fresh white paper, if you put that dauber directly on it, you might get a circle. And then with a little bit of elbow grease, you might be able to buff it out and get it smooth, but I just wanted to make sure that it was smooth from the get-go. So again, picking up a little bit more of that yellow, I'm going to go ahead and do a little more of the orange, maybe just a little bit on this outside part. Again, going back with the yellow, just kind of going back and forth with the two colors until I get a nice effect that I like. Again, I'm going with the kind of glow from the moon, so I wanted to just use the orange and the yellow for the, traditional typical moon glow. So there I have it. I'm actually going to take this scratch piece of paper because I noticed that my fingerprints were getting on the edges that I was actually touching. So there we go. So I like this. So here's just kind of a little close-up of it. You can see that there's orange in the background and then more of the yellow into the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this all cleaned up and set to the side. And then I wanted to add some sparkle to the background of this. So I'm just using an old box that I like to just put my piece of paper in. That way when I am doing any kind of splattering, it doesn't go everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and use the black shimmer brush from Close to My Heart. So get that opened. And like I've done in so many other videos, I just take the top off and just kind of tap it right onto the top, and I get that fun splatter effect. So I'm going to go ahead and use the yellow as well. Same thing. Making sure I squeeze out a little bit and then tapping it right onto that background. And then the last one that I'm using is actually the clear shimmer brush. So I'm going to go ahead, squeeze it where it says push just to get a little bit of that shimmer to come out, and then go ahead and tap it on the top. So here is just a close-up. You can see all that fun extra shimmer and shine to it. In my original, I did actually use a little bit of red as well, but I like the look of just the orange, the black, and then the clear as well. So like I said before, I used, actually I'm gonna go ahead and get off this surface so I don't make any colors in the background. I use this cute little gnome and then this overlay right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this glued down. And for the little overlay, I am just using the tape runner. I did not raise this. It could easily be raised and turned into a super cute shaker card. That could be a really fun element as well. But for this, I added dimension to the gnome and then the two bats as well. So right here, I'm just going to go ahead and get this put right in the middle. Make sure I have that on camera. Get this put right down. Get that laid down. And then the little gnome guy, he's going right over here. And then this broom gets tucked behind it. So I'm actually going to cut a little bit of the broom stick off just so I can tuck it right behind the little gnome. And like I said before, the gnome does get raised. So I'm going to go and get some 3D foam tape for him as well. Just kind of put that right in the middle. Make sure I get his hat as well, just to add a little bit of dimension. Just kind of cutting it up as needed. I'm going to go ahead and take the backing off. And I will get him raised. I'll cut off this little bit of the tape that's kind of sticking out. I will get him raised right here at the edge. And then with some liquid adhesive, I'm just going to glue this broomstick to the back. We'll get that added just right behind it. Making sure I'm not going over to the edge because this edge will actually be the edge of my card. So I'll keep that right there. And then these two bats are actually going to go right over here and I will raise them up. But first I wanted to stamp the sentiment. So on this particular card, I decided to use the word spooky. On the other two, I believe I used the Happy Halloween and Hocus Pocus. So I'm just going to go ahead and I cut a sheet of paper. This is 3/4 of an inch and this is probably by 3 inches, but I just cut it that long just so I could stamp on it and then dovetail it and get it cut. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up the Intense Black ink. Make sure I get it all nice and inked up. And then right over here, stamp that down. I actually think I'm going to try the other side. Wasn't quite as crisp as I wanted, so I'm again flipping it over, using that other side. There we go. Go ahead and get that pad on top. All right, so then on this, I'm going to actually just put it right over here, but I wanted to dovetail the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my microtip scissors, cut off the edge, and then what I do is I just cut up the middle and then cut on both sides. And then that way you get an even dovetail effect as well. Just gotta get that little bit in the middle. A little harder to do it on camera than, there we go. So then you have the little dovetail. And then I wanted to just add a little bit to the edges, so I'm just taking that ink again and a little dauber and just kind of adding it to the edges, just to have a little bit added kind of dimension to it as well. So again, just taking the dauber, putting it in that ink pad, and just kind of inking up the sides just to kind of add a little bit of extra dimension. So that piece actually will be raised as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the 3D foam tape put on there. Bring the card back in view. I'll just place it right about here. And then these little bats that are cut out with the glitter paper, I am using the 3D foam dots. They fit perfectly behind the little bat. So just putting it right behind there and getting one added here. And then the next one added right up here. Just that way there is 5 bats kind of fluttering around. And then the other little added piece that I did for the card was adding a little bit more shimmer. So I'm actually using the black shimmer brush and just kind of going over all the black parts that were stamped. And this will add a deeper tone of the black to it, as well as a little bit of shimmer. Now you could get this exact same effect with just using the clear shimmer brush as well, but I decided to go ahead and use the black shimmer brush. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over all those lines on his little foot, or on his little feet, on his little shoes. And then these bats right here that are cut out, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just kind of going as if I'm painting this on with this shimmer brush and just adding a little bit of extra glitter. This would have been a really fun piece to actually cut out with the glitter paper as well, but I just thought adding just a little bit just to the bats kind of make the bats stand out a little more. And then it kind of coordinates with the 2 little bats over there as well that are cut out with the shimmer paper. And again, I think this would be super cute to make into a shaker card as well. You could easily put a piece of acetate behind this overlay and just kind of go from there, and it could be a really cute Halloween shaker card. So here is a close-up of the finished card front, and then what I did to kind of finish it off was just glue it on top of a card that Close to My Heart has all these pre-made, pre-scored cards. So I just went ahead and kept that flat as well, and I just used the ATG gun and attached the card front directly to it. So with all of these cards that I've created, with using the Distress Oxide ink, it's really cool because you're essentially using the same products, but no 2 card ever looks the same. So you can see that this one definitely has more of a yellow tone compared to this one, which definitely has more of an orange tone. So here are the 2 cards side by side that we created today. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I hope you guys all learned a new fun technique. Happy Halloween, and I will see you all next time.